Hello, lovely. It's me, Marie, and today we're doing a bit of building. This is Luna Loveheart. She's a macabre baddie who loves love. She has two cats named Darkness and Macabre, and her favorite colors are, of course, black and red. Luna is even friends with a few famous people in town. She has many lovers, but no boyfriends, and she stay in the club in Ravenswood. And today, I'm building her a house. So without further ado,
Here we go!
So this is the shape that I'm starting with, and I kind of wanted to leave room for a front porch where she could do stuff in. I'm kind of taking influences of Willow Creek because this is where I'm building it. I want the house to look like a new build in an old neighborhood, and that's sort of what I'm going for. Now you can see me here struggling with windows, trying to figure out how we're going to let the light in on this nice house that we're building. It does go through several iterations, very indecisive, but I ultimately think that a more classic window would work here. So I took out the more modern windows and switched them out, but it took me a long time to get there, I will say. Now, as you can see, these windows are giving me a lot of trouble. And for this, I wanted to look around to kind of see what elements I could steal off of the other houses to put on her house. Because also I wanted to match her personality. She's very dark. She likes black and red and gray and like moody colors and all that kind of stuff. So I want the house obviously to be black and gray at some point. It's not going to match the surroundings, but it gives Luna for sure. For sure. And here we are trying to find a door. I really like that the door is kind of indented, like it's inverted inside of the house, if you will. Like it creates a little mini porch situation. Big fan of that, and it was kind of fun to make that shape. I was afraid it wouldn't work, but that door from Lovestruck looks so good there, so we had to go with that one. And I think we're getting close to when I actually chose the correct windows. So I am going for the shutters open look to kind of match the surroundings, but everything's gonna be dark and moody for Miss Luna, of course. So here I was trying to basically figure out what kind of window would go on the top, because those bigger ones that I put on the bottom didn't really work. And it was a little redundant, and it didn't kind of, I don't know, add a different type of character to the space up top than on bottom, because none of the other houses are two-story, so it was kind of hard to figure that part of it out. But we do end up finding a solution along the way. So now that the windows are in, let's look at some paint options, because I can't wait to get this outside looking like something. I wanted to still go with like a gray that would pop up against those black accents. That sort of iron looking fence from Lovestruck is one of my favorite fences. It is so cute, and it reminds me of like your grandma's neighborhood or your grandma's house. Like, I'm from the South for the most part, Army baby, but I lived in the South for the most part. And a lot of like older houses will have that sort of iron, they'll have iron poles in the front, or they'll have the iron gates. And I just thought that looked really good in black with this house in particular, and kind of still gave it like an old school kind of charm. But please do not be alarmed, okay? That bump out window we will be fixing and changing, okay? Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. Now, I really wanted that sort of 3-pane bump out, sort of like the other houses had. But instead of like a built bump out with walls, I was not doing that. That's too much. Especially on a 2-story, that's insane. I'm not doing that. I'm a beginner at best. Let's be honest here. And I'm on an Xbox. But anyway, I really wanted oh God, what am I doing here? This girl, roofing for me is always a struggle, and I really did not know what to do with the roof because it's so wide. And I was like, well, you know, I had to actually look around at some of the other houses just to figure out like what to do, because ooh girl, what is that? But don't be alarmed, I do find a solution, I promise you. And roofing really is mostly just copying and pasting and just trying to get everything to fit correctly. I promise I do find a solution. This is not our last stop with the roof, okay? Because it took me a while to figure this out. I don't even know what I thought I was doing here, but you can, ooh, girl. And I forgot to delete the walls and the ceiling. So I'm just like messing up all over here, but you know, I've only built like maybe 3 or 4 different buildings. The first build I did was Fall's house. Well, actually, no, it wasn't his house. It was his greenhouse, and the greenhouse was like so cute or whatever, and it was really small. And then when I put it on the gallery, the back half of the greenhouse just disappeared. I will definitely re-put that on the gallery. I don't know why it did that. I'm so sorry. But I just noticed that the other day, so I don't know, it's really strange. But yeah, the roofing, girl, it's always rough before it gets better. I'll just say that with roofing. Now I would say this looks a lot better, but I need to maybe suck in some of those gables on the outside. It's looking really boxy right now, which we do fix in the end. It will still be sort of boxy. Let me not lie, actually. I kind of wanted it to be boxy. A lot of new builds these days are very boxy, especially in the South. There's like a few different builders that keep building the same square house over and over again, and that's kind of where I got my inspiration from. I just keep seeing them, you know. I mean, houses are technically all boxy, I guess, but what I mean is just like they look more like a box than it does a house. Like it looks like the house you built, you know, when you first booted up The Sims when you were 12. Like big box, windows, doors, and then they like try to throw some fancy trims on it or whatever. But I actually think this roof is looking great. Oh my God, did I delete that? What's going on? Oh, I was like, what happened? But basically now we just need to add the siding to the top part. But I think that that top part is missing something a little bit. It's missing something. We need something in that little space right there. And honestly, I think something like this would work perfect. And it's like the perfect touch. I was gonna add it to both, but it didn't really look right. And it's sort of still giving the vibe, almost gothic a little bit, like a taste, like the way that Poppy tastes like mango, or like LaCroix tastes like watermelon. It gives gothic in that way, if that makes sense. But now the roof color is on and it's starting to come together. Ooh, I was so happy once the roof kind of came together. I was really scared at first. It was a little scary, I will say. So, if you remember, I said it was a little boxy, and this was my solution. A chimney. I will say, while building, a chimney will always be the solution to make your house look a little less boxy. Unless, of course, you're trying to do those weird bump outs and stuff. You know, that's all fine and good for the people who are a little more advanced, I will say. But for me, it's just putting that chimney in, and then you go in and you basically just make it match to whatever you have on the bottom. It just kind of looks right. I think a brick chimney makes sense. Like, it's more sturdy and, like, I don't know, but it just feels like it works, right? Like, look at this. It works. Say yes. Now, as a beginner, I recently learned how to do, what are they called? Spandrels with the columns. And I forgot that you have to put a wall there for it to work. So I went ahead and put a wall there so that we could install a little spandrel to give that sort of front part a little character. I went ahead and repeated the columns I used up at the top, and it kind of just all goes. Like, it's coming together, right? Like, yeah. Also, I love that trim that I used, because it really breaks up the brick from the siding really well. I did try and go for a different kind of door. I really wanted it to feel like super unnecessarily modern, but like it just didn't work. I think that door from Lovestruck really seals the deal, but I kind of wanted something that looked more like a front door. And this one has like the little window on the front. Like, it still looks very sweet and suburban. So I went ahead and kept that one. So a little tip about chimneys. Basically, if you want your chimney to smoke, like in gameplay, when you turn on your fireplace, you will need to add a roof sculpture to the roof for it to come out, and you'll have to add in your roof sculpture to your roof. And here I had to turn on bb.move objects so that I could get the roof piece inside of that room, because technically it's not supposed to go there. It's supposed to go on the roof. And it took me a little bit because I'm using a controller with this, but it ended up working out. I went ahead and sized it back up so that now in gameplay, when she uses her fireplace, the chimney will actually smoke out of the top of it. Now look at that. I think that chimney really helped add a little bit dimension to our box here. Just a note, these southern builders, they're not adding a chimney. And if they are, it's an artificial chimney, and it's one of those little circle things on the top of the house, and it's not as cool as this. But anyway, now we're adding stairs. My least favorite thing to add in the game, because it gets so complicated. Sometimes you have to literally take the stairs out of the room and then put them back in the room for them to settle correctly. With her house, I wanted it to be more like, I've seen certain sort of townhouses look like this, but I wanted this top part to sort of be an open floor plan. It was really hard to do because I did not know why I couldn't just delete some squares of the floor. So this takes me a while, but I won't make you suffer through it. But basically, I had to create a room, delete the floor of that room, and then it was opened up. Her room does not have a door. It's just a stairway straight into her room, and then she has a bathroom upstairs. I was gonna add a bathroom downstairs, but it didn't work out. There just wasn't enough space, but for her just by herself, I think it's fine. So once I actually figured out how to do the open sort of stairway, I realized that I'd probably need to put a bathroom up here because there's not really any space to put it anywhere else. So I went ahead and made that second railing into a wall and closed it off, and that will be where the bathroom goes. Now, I noticed all the rest of the houses here are shotgun, and so I wanted to stay true to the original sort of builders in the area, like make it into shotgun house. So basically, if you're not from the South, a shotgun house is when you can, quote unquote, shoot through the front door and shoot right out of the back door. So basically both the back door and the front door are in line so that you can shoot a bullet through both doors without hitting anything, because it's a shotgun house. No walls or anything like that. And that's kind of how a lot of the other houses in this area are built. Now, before we get a little too interested on the inside, I wanted to make sure I fixed up the outside. I wanted to have at least one huge tree on the lot because it just, I don't know, it just makes sense to me, like, especially in this sort of area, like in the South, like if you go to like rural parts, there's always some huge tree on the property or like lining around, and like there are trees like that one in this like world or whatever. So I was like, this matches, you know, I wanted it to match the surroundings. It is Willow Creek after all. Now, after I put those windows up top, I wanted to kind of do something on the bottom that let in a lot of light, like into the backyard, if that makes sense. My like house I live in now has like really big windows and lets in a lot of light in the backyard, and I really wanted to sort of do something similar. Unfortunately, those windows do not line up. Is she gonna move it over? Yeah, okay. Listen, I'm talking to myself posthumously, which is so funny, but I ended up moving it. I kind of just really wanted a cascade of windows on the back half, but the windows that were in the front were a little too front coated. I don't even know if that makes sense, but they were very just like they belong on the front of the house and not the back. And I wanted to also stick with the sort of arched window theme that I used in the front, and also the doors have like an arched piece to them also. So I wanted to stay sort of in there, in that sort of range, but some of these windows just were not big enough. They were cool, sure, but not big enough for what I was thinking about. I do find a solution. You just have to be patient. Now, the windows that I put in are from Base Game. Because we're in Willow Creek, it makes it a lot easier to kind of embrace Base Game windows at this point. Because I still wanted it to look very Willow Creek, but I also still wanted it to kind of look a little gothic-y, like, I don't know, like I just wanted to whisper gothic, even though this is supposed to be like a suburban house, obviously. Because the gray and black just kind of matches her, and so I wanted to kind of keep on with that theme. I closed in that front half. Like I could have put a bathroom in there. Don't yell at me, okay? I could have put a bathroom there, but it was so small and I didn't want to have to try to make that work. And it was also just like a huge bump out that doesn't go to anything, and it didn't really fit with the room. So I went ahead and closed it out. Now we're looking for a fireplace to go in this spot, and honestly, at the end of this, you'll be as surprised as I was with the fireplace that I chose. Now this is that fence from Love Struck that I was so in love with. I think it's called the Iron Patchwork fence. But notice how I didn't even choose a chimney and I skipped it because I was like this is too difficult. Let me just finish the outside. So here we are building her a really nice, luxurious backyard. She has a lot of money. So I was like, let's spend it. So I went ahead and gave her a pool and everything. I don't have a lot of experience with pools, I'll say. I've only built, I don't know if you've seen my week 1 of Blast from the Past, but I made a pool for that house with Steven and Leah. And I've never used a pool with a platform though, so that's why I'm doing a little bit experimenting here and trying to figure out how to corner the pool inside of the platform. I was like so scared that they weren't going to be able to access the pool with the platform like right up next to it, but it ends up working out. I noticed also another tip while you're building. When you're building, you'll notice without BB.moves objects, you can't put a lot of things up against the lot boundary. Now fences, you definitely can't, whether you have move objects on or not, the cheat. But I decided to have this pool kind of reach not the whole pool, but the deck. I wanted the deck to go all the way around the pool, and I was trying to figure that out without touching the edge. Basically with fences, you can go up to 1 tile outside of the edge from my experience, but past that it won't let you. Even if it's like a fence Sims from going to the backyard, you have to have it at least 1 tile out from the boundary or the edge of the lot. Here I'm just getting the deck situated. Finally found a wood trim that sort of goes with the vibe of the house. But I want the deck to surround the pool, and right now it's only hanging out beside the pool. So let's fix this up, shall we? And move the lot, because we need a little bit more space in the back. And of course, I got distracted and wanted to decorate the pool. I mean, the pool trims in The Sims are limited, but they are pretty. And I wanted something that was dark and moody to match Miss Luna's vibe. So unfortunately, the regular black flat pool trim actually worked the best because I wanted to really decorate the inside. So I love putting in those pool decals. It just makes a pool look so like rich, like rich. You know what I mean? So I love, my favorite one is the pool trim, or not a trim, it's a decal from the I call it colloquially colloquially I call it the yoga pack, but it's actually called Spa Day. And I just love those little lotus flowers, and you can shrink them up and size them up. I also love the turtles, but it doesn't fit the vibe here. I actually kind of like the flowers more, so I like to size them up or even size them down to make different designs. So we finally figured out how to get this deck all the way around the beautiful pool. We got our pool decals, we got lights in the pool, we got that beautiful pool ladder from the Riviera pack. Oh, that pack is so good for, you know, furnishing outdoors. I think I used a little bit more of that pack later on. It's so fancy, rich, if you will. So here I'm reusing that fence. Loved how it looked in the front, and most new builds have something like this where they reuse elements all over the house. And I thought this was perfect to line the backyard and this huge deck with our brand new fancy pool, mind you. And for the deck, I wanted to match, and of course we're going to use the same wood because it looks great. I think I'm also going to use that same wood on the front porch. So let's go ahead and get this bathroom situated. So it is very tiny, but for one sim, not really necessary to have a huge bathroom. I definitely tried a bunch of different ways to build this shower, but I also wanted her to have a bath because she has 2 cats. So building this bathroom was a little complicated because there's a huge window in the middle, but then also the door was blocking so many things. I don't know, it was a whole thing. But thanks to bb.move objects, I was able to squeeze it all in. Now here we are trying to figure out how to blend these stairs into the house. I noticed that there's some kind of wallpaper on them already. I guess it's the siding from outside, from where I had to place the stairs out there a couple of times, I'm imagining. But basically I was just trying to see if I could figure out how to maybe blend the stairs in a little bit more. But the panels weren't really working as far as that far right side. But the back of the stairs leading up, actually that wall helps a lot. So I think I might keep that and then go ahead and start on this kitchen. So I would be proud and also / surprised to tell you that these beautiful marble top counters are actually from the base game. I went with these because they look basic enough to be, you know, industrial builders sort of like go-to maybe. They're nice, they have the marble countertop, but they're also black. So matches Luna's vibe a little bit, but also keeps it very suburban and kitchen. That sounds really a complicated way to say it matches her vibe, but it's really suburban still. I love these countertops. I'm glad they're in the base game. You know, we need a lot more nicer, updated sort of things in the base game. It's not fair that the nice new modern stuff always goes to the packs or whatever. So I'm glad they put that in. This house doesn't really feel like it needs a, you know, conventional stove setup. So I went ahead and gave this house the flat top stove setup with a countertop convection oven. Well, maybe is it just called a convection? I can't remember, but basically I just wanted this this house to feel a lot more modern, but also like I don't know. I just really liked the vibe of it. I won't lie. I won't lie. But I'm so glad that these countertops came in the base game. They're so cute. And I think the upper counters are really cute as well. They match well. They look more modern, and I like some of the auxiliary shapes that they give you. So if you've never seen some of the other pieces of the kitchen upper counters, you can actually go in and turn auto counters, quote unquote, off and choose which pieces you'd like to put on. So you'll see here I'm going across and picking different pieces to put up top, and it's an easy way to customize kitchen cabinets, and you can use this for counters. I think I also did it for the corner counter of the bar top counter. Now I understand I broke my original treatise that I wanted to have a shotgun house, but hear me out. Basically the living room kind of wouldn't even fit in that sort of corner without having the door closer to the back. Also, it kind of makes sense just for the shape of the house. So I won't make any more excuses, I promise. Now I'm just trying to parse out where everything would go in said living room. I often waste a lot of time using furniture that I might like in the space. I think in the future, I'm gonna just start using more generic furniture, because sometimes I'm so into like trying to get the vibe and also set all the furniture up that I forget. Hey girl, you got to figure out where it goes first. Now with the fireplace, I wanted something that looked traditional but sort of artificial. I know that's like super unnecessarily specific, but I feel like with new builds nowadays, they make everything look like it's built in, look like it's, you know, authentically part of the house, or, you know, something like that. But technically it's not, and it's often like sort of superficial looking. So I chose a very classic sort of shape of the fireplace, and I imagine I'm gonna put some bookshelves in there to fill the space, and also to make it look more just a just a just a just a touch gothic, if you will. Now that I've shown you how I built it, I wanted to give you a little tour of our home before we move in. Now, I will say I did make a few changes off camera, and no, I did not choose those decorations because technically Luna doesn't live here yet. So I'm not really sure how that happened, but let's take a peek inside. So this is our downstairs without any furniture, of course, because she hasn't moved in. We've got the fireplace with the bookshelves lining up against it. I did change the kitchen a bit because, well, the shape of it didn't really sit right with me, and so I went with the longer, bigger cabinet and a full stove. It gives suburban, and it just fits the kitchen space pretty nicely. Now we're headed upstairs to the open floor plan bedroom. No bed, no furniture, of course. We haven't moved in. There's her fan, and she's got a nice chandelier there for that corner nook, with the really cool 3-pane window. Our bathroom is to the right, but we'll see that in just a second. And this is the view from our beautiful balcony. This will most likely be where she does her jewelry making and crystal making. And maybe we'll have some potter plants out here, so she can maybe grow a little bit of catnip. Now we're going back inside to take another quick look at the room. This is on the gallery, and yes, I included the attic box to take off the decorations if you guys have seasons, just in case. Just in case. This is the bathroom, and it's pretty small, so a little hard to shoot, but it's cute, it's small, it's mostly black, and it's functional. Now we're headed outside for a quick look at our pool. Yes, I did include the pool floaty just because it looks great with the decals at the bottom. So yes, this part of it, the pool floaty, is included on the gallery. I will show the gallery entry in just a second, but I wanted to give you guys a nice glimpse of this pool view, this nice full deck, and that maybe a little time in Willow Creek isn't that bad after all. I mean, look at these views. Now, you can find this home on the gallery. called Dark Streamlet Single. And you can find that on my page on the gallery. It's the same as my YouTube name, Itsumi Marie _Marie. And if you play on Xbox, you'll see my username is AnajMarie94. Now, that's just because that's my Xbox username. But now that that's settled, let's go ahead and take a look at Luna enjoying a little bit of the house. And so we have made it to the end of the road. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey, in particular where I built a house from scratch for our diva Miss Luna here, okay, our gothic baddie, if you will. And it was really exciting to build from scratch. I've only done it a few times, so thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye!